I don't know the last time I listened. I usually listen to, like, randomly I go back and listen to my old stuff every once in a while.
Yeah, sure.
And I haven't listened to this in a while.
Yeah.
Other than, like, they like at the store they'll watch the show.
Right.
So that beginning part out here
comes on.
But,
Yeah.
like,
So that's cut down, right? This is the full song.
Yeah, this is the full song.
Right. Yeah. I bought this on iTunes for $129.
Damn,
Can you believe that?
That's love, bro.
Isn't that crazy? When iTunes used to charge you $120, it used to be 99 cents.
99 cents.
And then it was $129, so you could like own the right to use the song or whatever. And now it's all streaming.
Yeah.
You know, as an artist, like, do you wish it was still iTunes, or like, you're not really as much of an artist as you are an entrepreneur now, but like, do you have an opinion on all that, streaming or iTunes, or not really?
Not really, man. Cause I never thought. I never had a thought process of making money off of my music.
Fair. Oh, really?
Ever.
No, it was just on the side.
No, just like you don't make money off of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're selling millions of copies, maybe.
Right.
You got the opportunity to do the reality show.
Right.
And we had input for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Kind of, a level of creative control.
Right.
And I never like implementing myself into something unless it's supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to just assume that I would be doing the intro to the show.
Right.
So I think we actually like went to Paul and was like, we thought like maybe Sean should do it.
Right.
Try to get Sean to do it, or try to get like Danny Brown. Because he was under his management.
Right.
And then
Goliath
management. And then he said, Paul was like, man, you do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. And then we made it into an episode for the show, and I got with Denon.
Right. Porter, right? Did he produce? Did Denon Porter produce it?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's dope.
And then just recorded it, man. I just kind of wrote. I don't remember actually writing it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember I watched a lot of episodes. There was how many episodes? 6 or 8, I think.
Per season.
Per season. Right.
And this was the first season.
This was the first season. Yep. When it first came out. I remember that was crazy. That was a big Detroit moment,
Yeah.
for like clothing shoe culture. You know what I mean? That Shine song. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
So real quick, just like, give us a bit of background on that song. Like, you used it for the reality show that you guys did a long time ago.
Yeah.
To kind of bring Burn Rubber into the forefront of Detroit culture.
Yeah. Like I said, Paul suggested that I do the theme song or whatever.
Right.
And I just kind of, in my mind, like, not thinking about it, it's like I knew people from around the world, just because Eminem's name is attached to it.
Right.
People would be checking in.
Of course.
And
that's how I found it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just wanted people to, kind of hear the song and just know, like, regardless of what you heard about Detroit or if you heard anything, this is what it feels. This is what it is to me.
Right. For real.
Yeah.
Ro Spit, thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you, bro.
This is crazy. We met a long time ago back at the Big Sean Hall of Fame kind of like album drop signing event back at Burn Rubber, the show itself. And
hold on, was that at Burn Rubber or 218?
Burn Rubber.
At Burn Rubber.
Burn
so
Rubber.
that wasn't the first one. It was a million people there.
The line was insane. Around the corner,
okay.
and you had to buy an album. And my buddy and I didn't realize that there were 10 albums left, and we got the last 2 of them or something like that. We were the last ones in line.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And if you had asked me back then, would you ever be interviewing Ro Spit now here, this many years later, almost 10 years later, I would have said you're fucking crazy. Here we are.
Wow.
So I appreciate your time, man. Today.
Love, bro. Thanks
Absolutely. We're filming at a cool spot. We're in Digital Labor Studios in downtown Detroit. Mm-hmm. We're gonna have a lot of Detroit talk today, so I'm excited about that. 218's not too far from here.
Yeah.
Burn Rubber and Royal Oak, again, not too far from here. Those are 2 of your spots. We're gonna get into that. But I want to start in Detroit. You grew up in Pontiac, but since you're so involved in the city, we were just talking about this. You know, like I feel like the term Detroiter is a little bit abstract at times because you can be from right outside the city and still contribute so much, which is what you've done. So my first question is, what's your favorite part about Detroit, or what's your favorite part about being from this part of the country?
I think like just the authenticity of people.
Yeah.
You know it might sound cliche, the passion of people, like how much people love this place.
Absolutely.
And so I've had interviews and I talk about kind of not being from Detroit, right? A lot of times, when you live outside of New York, you're a New Yorker. L.A., Chicago, and the thing why, like, I've gotten flack over the years for like, I never say I'm from Detroit, but like I'll be in an interview and people will be like, growing up in Detroit, and I kind of just eventually you just go along with it.
Right.
But I get why people would have something to say, right? It's because a lot of blood has been shed on 7 Mile.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of tears have been dropped on, McNichols. Like, so I get it. I get it and I understand, you know what I'm saying? And that's why it's never a thing. Like, say what you want to say. But then I just do my work, you know what I'm saying? Like I pull up to this whatever home and do my service. And most of the time I don't even say anything about it.
Right.
Or go to these places and just kind of, it is what it is,
Yeah. I feel like, a lot of the suburbs, or cities surrounding Detroit, they feed off the energy that we have, or that Detroit has, I should say. Because I'm from right outside the city as well. In college, I made the fatal mistake of saying that I'm from Detroit because nobody knows what Grosse Pointe, Michigan is.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, no one gets that. So
nobody really cares.
No one cares either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I used to say that I'm from Detroit. I took flack from it. You know what I mean? And I get it, the same way that you do. For me, it's the underdog mentality. I feel like we always have something to prove.
Yeah, that's real.
When you were coming up, did you feel like that at all? Like you had something to prove because you accomplished so much?
Yeah. I mean, I still feel like that. I still feel I don't get the credit I deserve. Not particularly looking for it.
Right.
But I still think people don't get it as much as people do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's that chip on that chip that I put on my shoulder. That when that Jordan the Last Dance, when about the Bulls and everything.
Yep.
They talked about Jordan talked about or maybe it was somebody else. People talked about how he would find these things. Like, when they come play the whatever. I don't have a problem with you, but I'll find something. Like you could say, yeah, nice game, and then I'll take it a different way, just to put me in a mental space to want to dominate.
Right.
And I do that, and I didn't notice it until I kind of saw somebody say it. But I'm like, I have this like, out of all the people that bought the Jordan 2 and did this, like, I appreciate that and I noticed that, but then I also pay attention to like, you ain't.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ain't buy those, man.
Right.
But that gives me a chip, like I gotta, and it's not like, oh, I'm mad at you. It's just like, no, I gotta do better next time. I gotta grow it next time, so it's something that is undeniable to everybody.
Yeah, I feel it's a mindset.
Yeah,
it really is. I was kind of talking about this. You're a talented entrepreneur. You did an interview with Shop Talk, and it was kind of funny. I really enjoyed watching it with Sebastian, talented interviewer. And, he was taking you through the steps of starting a business.
Yeah.
Step 1, step 2. And then I think like maybe step 7 or 8 or something like that towards the end, you were like, I didn't even know there were steps.
I had no idea, no clue.
That struck me because Burn Rubber is such a symbol in Detroit. You know what I mean? You built it from, I think 2017 was when you bought it, right?
2007.
2007?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
2007, my bad,
yeah.
2007. Because it's been about 15 years. And it's become such a staple in Detroit now. You've grown the brand to such a recognizable logo. I feel like you could have gone anywhere to do that. Why was it so important for you to stay in Detroit? Because you could have gone to New York or LA and probably done 10 times what you did.
Yeah, I guess I was always under had the mindset of, if you don't have home locked down, how can you go anywhere? You know, and part of the reason, I mean, the easy answer is because, you know, we bought it and it was here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we could have picked it up and took it, whatever. But, you know, but yeah, it's like you know, it's just like that as an MC or as a rapper. Yep. It's like, yeah, you can go out to New York to get a record deal, but they're gonna say, well, what are you doing at home? Like how connected to you? How are people connected to you at home, and how do people appreciate what you got going? And you know, if you don't really got nothing going on, no numbers to show for it. It's like, so our whole thing was just like master that, and then with the mindset of always letting people know, regardless of what you hear, how amazing this place is.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Completely.
You had a great lawyer too.
Sugamelli.
Yeah, you had a great lawyer. Yeah. I feel like, you know, was he a Detroiter? Is he from Detroit as well? Did you ever find out?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, his office was in it was in Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like as far as I know, he was. Right. You know, he's from here.
From the area. Yeah. He's probably sitting on a beach. I mean, he helped you guys.
Probably. Yeah.
He helped you guys a lot. You know what I mean? Because the story of how you bought Burn Rubber, I don't know if you mind telling it real quick, but they were asking a lot more than you offered for it, and the way that you were able to kind of like secure it was half the money first, and then the second half of the money for the important part of the deal. If you mind telling that story.
Yeah, I mean, it was just I don't know what kind of deal they call it, but it was you know, it's just kind of like we're buying the store. The mindset that Sugamelli kind of gave us, or kind of the jewels that he placed upon us, was more like, as much as you want to like fantasize it, like owning a store, this particular store, the worth is in the contracts, the Nike, the Adidas, the Jordan brand, like all these contracts, because that's what separates us as a retail space from a resale shop, right? Where, you know, we're getting it direct from the company, right? So he was like, you know, if you don't have that, like, what if you pay for everything and then they don't open you up? Yeah. Then you could just go start your own store. Right. Like, what's so special about it? And so, you know, we kind of put the offer out, and they agreed to it. And you know, and because in our mind we were like, well, it's already an account here, so why wouldn't they open us up? But they can make their own decision. Right. And you know, luckily it happened.
Yeah. Did they call it Burn Rubber when you guys bought it? Was it originally called that?
Yeah, it was Burn Rubber.
Yeah. Was it the same logo?
No, different logo.
No? Who did the logo?
It's Paul. I want to say Paul Kwan. So Phil was a early homie of Burn Rubber. Like, was kind of always around, but I think I'm saying this right. His brother worked at Burn Rubber, the original Burn Rubber, and he's an artist. So I think he went to CCS or something like that. Yeah. He went on to design for, you know, huge companies or whatever. Right. And he, you know, just at work, just drawing stuff because he's an artist. Right. And so when we bought the store, the old logo is like Burn Rubber with the, you know, letters, and then in the middle was like a sneaker with fire around it. Yeah. It was kind of weak. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Too literal.
Too literal.
Yeah.
So then when we got it, me and Rick were already kind of like, yo, we got to find something new to, you know, we'll do this for right now. Right. And then we were cleaning out the cabinets, like because, you know, getting rid of their old stuff. And sure. And then I don't know if it was me or him, but we opened up a folder, and it just had some drawings in it, and one of them was the chef. Right, right. And we were just like, man, that's crazy. Like, if that was on a hat or a T-shirt. Yeah. So we hit him up, and I forgot what it was something, like, we paid nothing for it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, he may have said, all right, when you get a hat, just give me a hat, or something, or maybe real, that. Or when you do a T-shirt, just give me. Yeah. And that was it. Wow. But he said you could use it, so we trademarked it. Oh, we got a guy to digitize it. And it looks different than what we found in the drawer, but it derived from that. Yeah. And then we trademarked that, and like the rest is history.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy to think like how much you started out with when you were first putting that all together and what Burn Rubber and 218 and everything is worth now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
It's really crazy to look back on that.
Yeah.
When I was doing my research for this interview, I wanted to call it, I wanted to title the interview The Renaissance State of Mind. Because you do so much, you know? That's you. You DJ, you make music. I had to write it down. You have ideas, you see them through, you design things. That's really what I want to get into today. You try new things, you're involved so much in the city, you support local shows like this, you show a lot of love. You know, if you could only do one creative thing going forward, what would it be?
Ah, man. Gun to my head. Man, shoot me. Kill me.
For real.
Kill me.
Yeah.
I can't.
Can't decide.
No, I'm saying I can't just do one thing.
Can't just do one thing.
I would be miserable. Be miserable. If like, my first mind would say DJ.
Yeah. That's how you started.
That's how I started.
DJ at heart. Yep.
Yeah, it was my first artistic outlet. But if that was my only artistic outlet,
right,
kill me.
Well, because that led to so many other things. You know, DJing kind of opened up maybe the creative mind that you have a little bit, right? Or not really? Maybe.
Nah, I mean, the creative mind was always there. That was just my first outlet.
Yeah.
Like my way of I could do something where people would be like, where people would say, "Oh man, that was cool."
Right.
I tried to draw, and it wasn't good.
That didn't go.
You know what I mean? I tried these other things.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. I think that's what separates me, because it's all encompassing. I would say design, but if that's all I had, my outlet was that, and I couldn't go to the studio and drop a verse, kill me.
Yeah.
Because eventually I'll be so miserable I want to kill myself.
Right. DJing was kind of your first creative expression, maybe we can say.
Yeah.
Right. And so like after that, you know, you started making music. So kind of like before we get into the entrepreneurship stuff, because that's mainly what I want to focus on, I do want to talk a little bit about the music, and I want to talk about the album Coney Island. Nick Speed produced it, which by the way I had not heard. That this was my introduction to Nick. Ooh. He's a dope producer. I know. I'm way behind.
Yeah.
My favorite song is 845. It's crazy.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, that's my favorite one on the album. Because it's a vibe. I was listening to it. It's a little long. I listened to it 3 times to get here. That was it. That's all I needed.
Yes, all you need.
Right? But like, you know, quick jog down 94 when I was here. But it's a vibe. Like, you know, tell a little bit of the story of that album, how it came together, because it's a concept.
Yeah.
About you guys a night out, right?
Yep, night
Coney
out.
Island. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so the story we still might do it. It was supposed to be like a movie to go along with it.
Yeah.
But it was just taking too long for the album to come out, and it became more than what it was supposed to be. But that particular song, so the whole thing is a night out. A kid from where I'm from, out that way, out in the suburbs, coming down to Detroit to party,
right,
or have just kind of hang out,
right,
and then the crazy things that happen, some of the things that could happen on the way,
right.
So it's like it's 2 storylines in the album, which is a little it's a little too deep for the average person to get, but if you just listen to the music, it's a story, right? That is literally in the music. So like if you take out the skits and everything, you can hear a storyline of like things that happen, things, the ups and downs, right? Then there's the actual storyline of going and kind of hanging out.
Right,
you know
the obvious one.
The obvious one.
Yeah, the one that you hear like getting out of the car. All right, oh now we're gonna hit this spot, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So and it all came about during the pandemic. So it was that was a pandemic album, and the things that the music is about happened in the pandemic, right? So if you talk about Yakistan, right? Those are real stories of things that happened in Pontiac, murders. You know what I'm saying? Like things that are going on, and people talking, and it was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm far removed from that now,
right?
But it's just something, an observation. 846 840, is it 846?
Yeah, 846.
846, man, my mind is kind of crazy. But 846 is a story of, it's for George Floyd, right?
Oh.
And what it is like, I was getting into house music. When I was a kid, I hated house music. But as an adult, I'm getting into loving house music, almost infatuated with it.
Interesting.
And I want to get into it as far as, like, I play it when I DJ, but I don't consider myself a house DJ.
What is it about house music that?
It's just something, it's the vibe.
Yeah, it that song is a vibe.
Yeah,
like, that's by far.
So that was, so as a creative, you can't tell me what I can do. I don't, like, not saying you, but anyone. You as a consumer or as a listener, you can't tell me what I can do, right? So you can't tell me that I can't make a rock and roll song just because you've only heard hip hop from me.
Right.
So I was like, yo, I love house music, and Speed was like, let's make a house record.
Yeah.
And what it was is that, like, at the end of that, when the song just kind of stops.
Right.
That's how long the cop's knee was on George Floyd's neck.
Oh shit!
Right?
No way.
So that's at the end when they got beat up by the police.
Yeah.
The kids. He was like, man, that's crazy. That song is just as long as my knee was on George Floyd's neck.
Intentional. That
was intentional. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was just it's just things like that, but that was during the pandemic.
Right.
You know?
So how much, does each song kind of have that kind of, meaning beneath it? Does every single song have a lot of intention behind it like that?
Every song.
Yeah?
Maybe not that or to that extent.
Right.
But like, and there's everything every song has a story. Even if the song isn't a story. Right. Every song has a story. I was just out in LA a couple of days ago, talking to my man KT, because we're about to actually Rose Gold 2 is pretty much finished. We got to do some cleaning up on it or whatever. Yeah. But we just had just regular conversation. We weren't even working on music, and he just had a daughter, and we just were just talking about life. My daughters are 16 and 12, and his is like 3.5 minutes old. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he was like, he was saying that he's in a space where he's like realizing that everything that we do as a creative, all we're doing is documenting. We're just documenting. And some people that are following from the beginning to now see a different story than the people that kind of like jump in here. And even if you jump in here and go back, you're going to see the story different or feel the story different because you weren't there when this was happening. Right. And that stuck with me because that's what that whole album is. It's just so like even the song with Boldy, right?
Boldy James, James. Great Detroit rapper that not many people know about.
Incredible.
You know what I mean? He's below the radar.
Yeah. It's because he's so chill, man. He kind of do his thing, and he's amazing in his space.
But he also doesn't need he doesn't need all that attention.
He don't need all the hoopla.
He's so confident in his own MC ability. That's my favorite part about him. Is he just knows how to rap so well. He knows he doesn't need any validation from the Fade or from Rolling Stone. He just raps.
Because he gets it from Alchemist.
He gets it from
Jay-Z.
Right, exactly. He's connected more than people think he is.
Yeah. But so that song was like, when the pandemic hit, people, it was just like, my mind was like, I felt like, I've never been to jail, but it kind of just, I was just stuck. I didn't want to write no music. I didn't want to, and then my man Oob from Pontiac did like this thing called Beat 16, where you place random producers with random MCs, and it kind of got my juices going. Yeah. And then so I did one, and then I was like, yo, I want to do another one. And he was like, well, we got too many MCs and not enough producers. So I was like, all right, well, I'll do my own. Because now I'm in the zone. I'm in the game now, right?
Sure.
And then, so Speed sent me, I hit Speed up, my friends that make beats. Right. And I hit Speed up, and I'm like, man, send me some beats, man. I'm about to just cut some verses to him and put them out, do a video, put them out. And he sent like 20 beats. And then the last one was, I'm listening to it, and I'm like, oh, somebody rapping on this. I'm like, this is kind of crazy. Yeah. I'm like, dude, it's dope. Yeah. And then I'm like, it gets to like the second verse, and I'm like, dog, that's me. Right. For real. I was like, so I hit him up like, what is this? Right. When did I record it? And he was like, man, you recorded in like 2014. We were gonna do an album. It was like me and Nick Speed were gonna do an album, and all of, because Detroit has this hip hop side and this street side, right? Yeah. And it's like it was separate at a time. Right. So I was gonna do an album with Speed, like a super hip hop album, and the only features were gonna be like street guys. Yeah. So like Mac Nichols and Payroll and
yeah.
you know, these guys just, you know, and then Helluva was gonna like help him produce it or like
that'd be crazy.
And it just didn't, and I went in and recorded the song.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I never heard it again.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot, like, it was completely taken off my brain.
Right.
So then when I heard it, I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So then I was like, he was like, man, you know, we was gonna do an album. We should just finish it. Let's go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then, so that was the first song of the album, but Boldy wasn't on the song. He ended up, you know, kind of rewriting the verses a little bit to update it.
Right, sure.
And then got him on there. But like even the story about that is just kind of wild.
He's crazy. When I was starting this whole concept for the podcast or whatever, this interview show, whatever you want to call it, right? I started with one of my buddies in New York, and we were just like, you know, listening to hip hop albums and reviewing them and talking about them or whatever. And one of the albums we did was Boldy James' album that came out like, I think sometime in like right before the pandemic or right as it was starting, 2020. He put an album out, I think.
Yeah. Was it not the Versace? Was it the Versace tape or something like that? Or?
It was something like that.
That might have been in the pandemic.
Something like that. It was right near 20. It was like 2020, like May or April 2020. Yeah, something like that.
Price of Tea in China.
Right. Yeah, Price of Tea in China. That's exactly it. Yeah.
That was fire.
Great album, and that was my introduction to Boldy about two or 3 years ago, and I remember from then just being like, man, what other Detroit rappers do I not know about? You know what I mean? That are just below the radar, right? So I started to dive into it, and I was like, I'm from Detroit, like. Where have these guys been? You know what I mean? And you get past like, I mean, you know, like Sada Baby's dope, right? Marv Won is dope. Like those guys are dope, but people know about them.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of start to get beneath the surface, and there's some incredible MCs. For someone that's not from Detroit, who would you recommend? Like the Detroit starter pack of rappers, get past the Big Seans and the Eminems, right?
Oh yeah. Right now, I mean, I guess, you know, it's some obvious. It's like Sada.
Yeah.
Is obviously, right?
Yeah. And Marv Won is dope.
Marv is
incredible. You got to listen to him, you know?
Yeah, that's like one of my best friends.
He just put out an EP recently, and it's dope. That song Worries is insane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, like, even getting past, like, Payroll and Peasy and, you know. But
Doughboys.
It's like...
Early Mac?
Early Mac is incredible.
Yep.
Not just rapper, incredible. One of my favorite songs from him, he's singing. Cash Kid is incredible. Rio the Young OG is incredible. Nolan the Ninja is incredible. It's like so many, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's crazy.
The Hydro.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Like I put state for state.
Yeah.
City, really not even city for city. I would put Detroit up with any city in the world.
Agreed.
And I think it's not even close when it comes to, you know what I'm saying? It's not even close.
What do you think is the stamp of Detroit hip hop? What makes it different here? Is it just raw talent, just lyricism, raw talent, or is it just originality, or what is it?
I think it goes back to the authenticity.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is one place that if you don't do it, you can't talk about it.
Agreed.
Because you're gonna have to walk down the street.
Yep.
And somebody's gonna pressure, like I say, like they're gonna ask you, you're gonna get questioned about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to be what you are when you get approached. And then I think it's you know, just kind of like the texture of the city, man. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cold. It's cold here.
The fabric here is crazy.
The fabric here is tough. And what I love about Detroit rap, Detroit MCs, is like the apathy. Like I don't even care about rap, and I'm that good. You know what I'm saying? It's just like everything is just so chill and just. But it's like you're hearing everything that they're saying, and it's like the wordplay, you know, just everything about like the wittiness of the metaphors, the simile, like everything is just it just kind of blends perfectly, and the fact that it's here, it's of here and from here. Right. So you have to.
And it's for here.
It's for here.
Right.
So you have to be here, or have to had been here at some point in time, or have some kind of attachment here to understand how, to them it sounds offbeat. But to us, it's right where it's supposed to be.
It's in the pocket.
It's right in the pocket.
Yep.
Even if we made our own pocket and put it over here.
Yep.
It's right over there.
Yep.
And that's where it's supposed to be. And then, you know, and when Blade was doing it, you know, Blade is Blade. His son is crazy. His son, Lil Blade, is insane.
I gotta listen to more.
Lil Blade is dope. Cam De Niro rolled with them. It's crazy. But when, you know, maybe it wasn't getting the love or the respect from the world that it was supposed to get at that time.
Yeah.
But it takes time, right? And now you're seeing it now. Like now the entire industry sounds like Vezo.
Yeah.
The entire industry sounds like Peasy and Ray and you know, all these people, man. So it's amazing to see, and like I'd be so happy. Like I'd be in LA and
you grew up with a lot of these guys. Like these guys coming up at the same time. Yeah, coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're probably working with them, you know, getting shoes, like
all that.
with all the fashion and all that. Like that's you're so connected to it at the time. Kind of moving into the Renaissance state of mind of, you know what I mean, kind of the design, right? Because I'm so curious about this. I want to talk about your approach to design and how you learn to design and the different types of design that you do. Because I feel like there's design in everything. You know, the way that we put this room together, like shout out to our videographer, the way that he put these cameras and, you know what I mean, the positions that they're in, like it's all design, you know? So maybe talk about your approach to, or how you see design and kind of like, you know, when you're putting things together, maybe in your mind kind of how it makes sense, if you will. And if that's too vague, I can help boil it down.
No, it's not vague. I think I just have a vision. It's certain things that, like, when I see it. I see exactly what it's supposed to look like, and it's just about getting it out onto whatever, right?
Is that the hardest part? Getting it out, like getting it on paper?
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes you need help. Right?
I need help all the time. Like, I need an executor. I'm the ideas guy. I need help putting it in action. Yeah. And then once I do, we're rolling.
Yeah. You know? So it's just like I have I think more than anything, I know what's fresh.
Yeah.
I know what's
tastemaker.
Yeah, I know what's gonna be appealing to people. I know when it's wrong.
That's even more important than knowing when it's right.
Correct.
You can argue.
Yeah. I study like colors and you know, I like look back, like even with the Jordan 2, one of the main things is I thought about Jordan 2 isn't the most popular shoe, like as far as like out of all the first 13 Jordans, right? So I knew, but there have been some amazing ones. Yeah. There have been some not so amazing ones, right? And the first thing I thought about is what's the connection of my favorite Jordan 2s? And that is a monotone or monochrome color palette.
That's crazy because the song "Shine" is off the Monochrome EP. That's what it's called.
Yeah, my first brand, my original brand, I was starting my own brand, outside of what we had with Burn Rubber. Yeah, was going to be called Monochrome, and that's why it was called the Monochrome EP, because that's what I was going to start going with that, and then everything would be monochrome. Right? So like that shirt would just be like tones of blue.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Or this would be tones of green, whatever's on it.
Right.
But with that, like if you look at the Vashti Jordan 2, it was all purple, and it had these purple tones.
Right.
The Just Don, the Don C Jordan 2s. You had a blue one. You had like a cream one. You had the pinkish color one. Yeah. The Ben 2 was all brown. Like. Yep. Even if you look at the original Jordan 2, it's just all white with little black hits here and there. You know what I'm saying? Right. And that was the first thing. So I'm like, whatever it is going to be, it's going to have a flow from the front of the shoe from the back of the shoe to the front of the shoe. And then I thought like the different textures would kind of mix the color up.
Right, because you have suede in there, right?
And suede, and even like the same color suede and nubuck is going to look different. It's going to one of them is going to be darker.
That's the crazy part that people don't think of. You know what I mean? And maybe that comes with experience, right? Just designing shoes for a long time and being around all the different types of fabrics, but like thinking like that outside the box is so different.
Yeah. So it's just things like that, you know what I'm saying, and just keeping it in that same color palette.
Right, right. I like what you said. I think this was the Weed Bar interview. You took the shoe off. You were really talking about it. That was one of my favorite parts of that interview because you took the sole out of the shoe. We'll get to that in a minute because that's my favorite part. But The different shades of brown is like a Detroit theme. You know, that's like a Detroit color kind of thing. You know, talk about the colorway a little bit and how you landed on brown instead of trying to like do something completely different and set a new wave. You know what I mean, in Detroit?
Yeah. The thing about it was, being that this is our, 218's first shoe, period.
Right.
Not the first shoe I've ever been a part of, but and the magnitude of it, I didn't want it to be about me. I knew a certain level of it, it's gonna be
huge.
It's gonna be about me. It's gonna be like in Pontiac, they like, yo, those are roast spit twos.
Right.
And I'm like, I've never said that.
Right.
But that's just a thing. So my thing is, it has to speak to Detroit. It has to speak to this area. And what is that? It's like you start thinking of fall colors. You start thinking of what's different here than it is anywhere else, right? It's like we have different seasons.
Yep.
You can go to LA and, it's cold, but it doesn't feel different because the leaves are the same color as when I left.
Yeah,
the last time I was there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here it's like they change colors, right? So we just kind of came to a place where it's like brown was this color that we felt represented the city.
Yeah, and it goes with everything.
Yeah, it goes with everything. It's a neutral color.
Yep.
You start thinking about Pelly. You start thinking about Rockport boots, and you start the Timberlands, and it's just these. But even just people, regular people wearing regular sweaters. Right. He has a brown sweater on now.
Yeah, it would go
because it's that time. It's just that time of the year.
Facts.
Right. And then so we knew that shoe would be coming out around that time, but that's just one more thing that kind of speaks to Detroit. And
or even
regardless
like
if the rest of the world don't understand why it's brown.
Right.
But you said what now?
I said even the Gucci coat goes perfect. It's got the brown, the gold brown.
Yeah, that's a good coat.
Yeah, I know. I saw you wearing that. I was like, I wonder if they sell that at 218.
No, not at 218.
Maybe not.
That's the Gucci store.
Yeah, I was on the website earlier and I was looking at a Jungles. Hoodie. Yeah. So
nice
I was gonna try to swing by and maybe cop.
That's appreciate it.
If you have it in medium only though, I can't be going too oversized. You know what I mean?
Right.
It gets crazy. But no, yeah, I think the confluence of the shoe, you know what I mean, that monochrome kind of like how everything blends together is so cool because I think Detroit blends together.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like we were talking about suburbs earlier, Pontiac, Grosse Pointe, it doesn't matter. Like we can both call ourselves Detroiters. I think that's probably, part of the shoe that spoke to me, like, because I identify as a Detroiter, but I wasn't born in the city.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no one can talk to me because I know my history with it. I know what my place is here, and I contribute to it. So like, I can't be told that I'm not from here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, kind of going with that, I want to talk about the soul of the shoe because that's by far my favorite part. And I'll quote you by saying that when you put the soul of the shoe together, you wanted to put Pontiac on the map because you had never seen Pontiac on the map, so you made your own.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's
what inspired that?
Just that small city thing, man. Yeah. And feeling, at times over the years, feeling underappreciated, feeling unheard.
Right.
And like I identified growing up with NWA. Not from a super gangster, I'll kill you type thing. It was that these guys are from a place that I had never heard about.
Right.
Before they came, I'm not saying I was the oldest guy or the whatever, or that just knew everything, but it was just it's a place that was not on the map, and they're screaming it and talking about it like, how I can't believe y'all don't know what this is.
Right.
Even if you don't, fuck you, because that's where I'm from and that's what I represent.
Right.
And that aspect of it stuck with me, right? Because I kind of felt like, we put that when they would say we put Compton on the map, and then
they did.
Yeah, and they did, literally.
Yep.
Like,
but they did.
From that day forward, it was like, all right, maps have to have Compton on it now.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with Pontiac. I didn't, you look at a map, you open something, you'll see Troy.
Right.
You'll see
in bigger letters.
Birmingham.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I've never saw that. So my whole thing was the way my mind thinks is that if it's not there, like, put it there.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. So that means and it could be on this table, right? It could be on this table. So every time I walk in here, I see Pontiac on the map. Yeah. And that's where it starts. Yeah. That's where the thought process is the thought to do it, and the thought to get it onto, to make it tangible. And if you do that, and you do it the right way, which is relative, right? Sure. But you do it the right way.
Because there's a right way for Detroit, and there's a right way for other cities.
Yeah, it's a right way for anything. Right? It's a right way for a watch.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a right way to make a watch and make it a Rolex.
Yep.
But it's just, I'm just saying whatever. So you make it tangible, and then it becomes infectious. And then that's what, just like NWA, they had a thought. Somebody thought, man, I ain't never seen my city on the map. Like, we about to put everything here is incredible. So we about to do it. So my thing was, now, I've always talked about Pontiac. Always. Every interview I've ever done, I say Pontiac this, Pontiac that. And then I'm like, okay, so now this is my chance to for real make my own map. And it's not just in my house.
Right.
It's not just on my phone. This is like people all over the world are going to see this. Yeah. So what better platform to say, oh, y'all don't know about Pontiac as much as I've been talking about it?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Now you do, because the shoe's it's a global release.
It's a global release.
It's a global release.
Literally all over the world. My man just told me, my man Angel Chill, I was just with him in LA, and DDG Pontiac, who's another amazing artist. He they're not related through marriage or whatever.
Sure.
But he was in Hawaii with his family.
Yeah.
And went in the store and saw the shoe and was like, yo, Pontiac, and they didn't have his size.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I took him a pair to give to him. You know what I'm saying? But just something like that is literally all over, like it went all over the world.
Yeah. That's got to be so cool to have that, I don't know if you call it level of control over a creative product, to the point where you can share your vision, not just with Detroiters, because for the longest time, at least correct me if I'm wrong, you were sharing your vision with Detroit, but now you're sharing your vision with the world.
Yeah, to an extent, because even Nas, one of our New Balances, Nas bought in Japan.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so we've had things.
How'd you find out about that?
A mutual friend. Yeah. So a mutual friend, a friend of mine knows a person in his camp. And so when they were over there, she had talked to him. Right. And just random, my friends, they own a store in Detroit. You guys should come through next time you're in Detroit. So they would always have these conversations. Yeah. And then they were over there and saw the shoe and was like, yo, this is dope. And I guess whoever worked at the store was like, yeah, they're from the States. They're from Detroit. So he was like, and then he bought the shoe, and then the guy reached out like, yo, is that store you were telling me about, is that called Burn Rubber? Yeah. And then he was like, yeah. And I was like, did they just do a shoe or something like that? And it was like, yeah. And so without even knowing us.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's so cool how the world kind of connected through that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The world is so small, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your approach to thinking a little bit, and just design and music and all that. That's all right brain. You know what I mean? Like very, very little organization. I'm a right brain person, so I'm not organized. I need people to help me do that.
That's real.
Yeah,
me too.
But that's you can't do everything yourself. But having that's where big ideas come from. That's the big idea side of the brain. And so kind of talk about maybe how your ideas go from ideas to a map on a shoe. The process of getting it there, maybe going through okay, you have to go through Jordan, you have to go through, all these people, but there's creative thinking through that whole process, right? Because you got to sell it through, you got to market it, you got to market yourself. How important is all that?
Oh, it's probably the most important.
Because it took a long time to get this. It took a year and a half or 2 years, I think, to get the shoe from inception to actually having it on shelves, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, that's probably the most important thing. Because you can make a million pairs of shoes, but if they end up sitting at a warehouse because nobody knows about it, right? Then what good is?
What's crazy? That's a crazy thing. Royster 5'9" once said, it's not about like don't follow the wave. It's like quality. It's like quality over the wave, right? Because he's like, you can own 100% of nothing and it's still nothing. You know what I mean? But like if you own 100% of something, I'm butchering the quote.
No, he's basically saying you can own 100% of nothing, or 1% of everything.
Right. That's what I mean to say. You got it.
A lot of people would say that these are own. And it's like, yeah, it's cool. Like
right.
People talk about Jay-Z in the Brooklyn Nets, and it's like,
yeah,
bro, you don't own a pair of shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking? You talking about this man owns 1% of a. Whoever knows how much this thing is worth.
Exactly, yeah.
That's more money than you ever seen, bro.
Right. So a gazillion, bajillion dollars.
Yeah, for sure.
From
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I just think, man, I try to think left. Yeah. I try to think left, and when I don't know left and right brain, I just think like I'm just the kind of person that when everybody's wearing green, I wear blue, or or whatever the case may be. When everybody's going to this place, I go to this place.
Yeah.
When everybody's trying to get in these venues to DJ and party, and I'd say like, man, I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna rock with the people that rock with me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna build that. And that's just how. And then like, cause that's the thing. Like, and it's almost like I don't know who I was talking to, but it was a thing we were talking about, doing these things and not making money per se, right? Or not. Like doing an album and like, how long are you going to do that shit?
Right.
If you're doing it for money. The thing is, and that's probably what another thing Royce was saying, you don't do things, once you realize, you don't do things for money. Mm-hmm. You do things for passion. You do because of passion and because of feel and because of the quality and like certain things, because the money, at some point in time, the money is going to go away. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
Maybe not physically, right? Maybe you can do this and you'll always make money, but the appreciation or the weight in the money eventually is going to go. Mm-hmm. It's sometimes up and down. When they say, I just saw an interview with Jim Jones. I think it was older, but he was like, talking about he a hustler, right?
Yep.
And right now I'm down. Sometimes you up, sometimes you down. Sometimes you got to tell your old lady, it ain't no Chanel bags this year.
Right.
But sure enough, give me another year. It's Chanel bags every day.
Right. It's
and
Birkin.
that's what it is, Birkin, right? So it's and the thing is, if you're doing that because of the money, he would have quit.
Right.
The hustler, but the hustler spirit is like, I know how to get it back. It's a lot of times. You broke because your money is in the streets, right? Your money, whether it's in the streets or in product or in whether it's drugs or clothes, it's out there. So I don't have it, but I got to get it off.
The real reasons for creating something maybe are long term, and the money's kind of short term. No?
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the money is always there. The thing is, it's just the money. Like look at even with Burn Rubber. If we start at 2007. To whatever 2014, 13 or so, it was beautiful. Everything was going smooth, and one mistake and we're at risk of losing everything, right? To the point where it made financial sense for me and my partner for me to buy him out, and at that point that was probably the lowest point. So it's like, I could have been like, this is, I ain't making no money. I had to go to pay my employees. Right. I had to go months without getting paid and figure it out.
Yeah. Everybody
can't do that. So, it's like, and I could have been like, man, I'm about to go get a job because it ain't, but it was never about the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as I got my house and my family has what they need.
Yep.
I'm gonna continue to do it, because just like, whether it takes 7 years after that or 2 years or 3 years, things are going to get better if I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right, absolutely. Talking more about, maybe transitioning more into the business, like opening the stores, and I think you said this, now correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but you said that kind of like like the Burn Rubber and the clothing and that kind of thing, like helped allow you to do the music. Yeah, a little bit, right. And so That's investing in yourself. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
Talk about investing in yourself because I feel like that might be the big learning moment here because you're all about inspiring people. I know like one of the things about the shoe is just like giving people hope, the kids from Pontiac hope that like, if they see this, they can accomplish what they want to accomplish. Mm-hmm. But you didn't get here by, you know what I mean? Maybe some people invested in you, but you mostly invested in yourself.
Yeah, completely. It's just like if you don't believe in yourself enough to put, whether it's money or, like something up, what are we really even talking about? Well, like, why would I give you money?
Yeah.
If you're not,
why would I give you money if you're not, you don't believe in
if you're not exhausting your, like everything, which
right.
which involves money.
Yep.
Why would I even support you? Yeah, why would I believe in you and support you and think you're gonna, so. Yeah. What was the beginning of that question? That was something I wanted to say. Like the beginning of what you said.
How the music, how the stores kind of let you have more of a music outlet.
So with that, hip hop is all encompassing, right? Hip hop is fashion. Hip hop is b-boying, breakdancing. Hip hop is MCing,
graffiti.
DJing, graffiti. Like it's all encompassing, right? And I knew that I worked before I got the store. I worked at Chrysler Financial in a office building.
You had a cubicle?
It was
hell yeah.
Terrible.
The grind, man.
Yeah, and terrible. I'm like, and as much as I loved.
Not a shoe store.
As much as I loved rapping and doing shows and all this stuff, it was, if I'm at work from 7 a.m. to 2 or 3 o'clock.
Right.
That means that, if I got kids, I got to do certain things. I got wife, family, girl, whatever. I got to do certain things, and then it's like I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning.
Yep.
So that means I have to go to sleep at 9, 10ish o'clock, or put late 11 is pushing it.
Right.
And my thing is with the store, everything that at any given space, this was kind of by design too. It was what I always wanted to do. Burn Rubber just presented itself at the time. Is that I don't ever want to have to turn anything off, ever. And I knew if I put myself in that, the money would come, the fulfillment would come from a passion standpoint.
Yep.
So that means, and when I say that, that means like when I was working at Chrysler, if I had a show that night, I had to turn that off.
Right.
I had to take the khakis off.
I see what you're saying. You had
take the button-up shirt off.
Yep.
And go put on some jeans, some gym shoes, and t-shirt,
Transform.
and go rap.
Right. Be someone new.
Be somebody, yeah, or just different.
Different, right? Be someone different.
So with how my life is set up, I don't have to do that, right? I can go from. That's how I can go to LA,
right,
and have a Nike meeting, or have some Nike business.
Yeah.
And then leave there and go to the studio.
Yeah.
And then leave there and potentially have a show.
Yeah.
And then call my mans and like, yo, we got to knock this out and this design. But whatever, all aspects of my life are like it just intertwined. So it's like I'm me 100% of the time. You're gonna get. I don't have to sit up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to do all that.
Right.
I'm just who I am all the time. So you're gonna get the most authentic me.
Yeah.
And if I am what you're buying into,
you know what you're getting.
You know what you're getting. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think kind of deep down that's always what you were working towards? Because I think a lot of times when people want to be self-employed, they just want to be themselves.
Yeah. No, that was completely.
Yeah.
And it all.
Like when you were a kid, starting off in 2007. That must have
even
been
before that. It started with Russell Simmons.
Yep.
It started with, the Jay-Z's and Dame Dashes of the world.
Yeah.
Even just like the people, the Carl Kanai, like these people I was seeing, and I'm like, man, they're them. Like Russell Simmons was sagging going into these meetings with these multi-million-dollar, whatever. And he's like, yo, I'm sagging. I'm wearing Adidas.
Right.
My hat is to the side.
Yep.
And like, you got it, bro. That's what you asked for. You asked for the meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it to you. You know what I mean? So, and I just because like I said earlier, if I had to choose, I would kill myself or would ask for the gun, basically.
Right.
It's because like I have to. I gotta pull from all these different things, man, because it's just it's all me.
That's you.
Yeah.
218 and Burn Rubber. So Burn Rubber was around for so long. What kind of inspired 218? And what is it about 218 that Burn Rubber doesn't do for you?
What inspired 218 originally was we were partnering and wanted to open a new store that was just different than, we were getting older. So like you said, when you were coming through, like the stuff that that was going on, just like maybe 10 Deep was cool then, or Crooks and Castle. Yeah. We were like, I'm 43 now, so at that time we were getting into our 30s, and we were like, man, a T-shirt with a big logo, and that's kind of like starting to get childish, but that's what we were selling. Yep. So and it was working, and it still works, because it's for a certain group of people. So we wanted to open a store, or do something that was just a little more adult, a little more elevated, that we can walk in and get a button-up shirt and kind of feel like, oh, this is cool, man. This is still stylish, and it's not like from Meijer or Target or something like that, or whatever. Right. And that's kind of what sparked it. And then the original one didn't work out. We dissolved it, and then I kind of got it back.
Talk about that when things don't work out, because I think as entrepreneurs, or when you're portraying the life of an entrepreneur, a lot of times it's the lights, it's the flashes, you know what I mean? It's the successful shoes, but it doesn't always work out.
No.
In fact, entrepreneurship's mostly failing.
Mostly. Yeah. Completely. Yeah. Yep. It's just a thing, man. It's kind of like that. Why I resonated with that Jim Jones interview, and it's like, sometimes you up, sometimes you down, man. It's kind of part of life. It's like that story. You just kind of, you do what you like. At least with me, maybe it just helps me sleep at night. But I do what I do. I try not to complain. Yeah. I try not to bother people. It's been times that I've been, when I was recording the first Rose Gold album, we were losing, quote unquote. Like the thought was that we were losing Burn Rubber. And I was going out there, I didn't really have the money and figuring it out, and then, and the people that my friends out there that I was making music with and just kind of, vibing with and just I would stay with them, and those were my friends I was visiting in LA. Yeah. They had no clue. Yep. They had no clue. Like, to the point where I'll tell you about it after I get through it. Right. So after we got through it, I made it out on the other end. We had these conversations, and they're like, I'm telling them, like, man, 9 months ago, well, it was probably the lowest point of my life. And they're like, what? Yeah. Like,
but it switches so fast.
Switches, yeah. And things happen, and it's like, I wasn't going to allow it to take me under. But, it's just one of those things, man.
Yeah. What's your vision for Detroit? Kind of going forward, like music, culture. Where do you see the city headed?
To the top. Yeah. It's already there. And it's dope that everybody's working together. Yeah. More than ever. Yeah. Both sides, east and west. Yeah. City to city. Like, you charge them, charge the people on the outside, work with the people on the inside to make everything the way it's supposed to be. But I think, man, like I said on the Shop Talk, I think Detroit has the best everything. Yeah. I'll put, like I said, from chefs to DJs to barbers to just, I don't know, anybody that's doing anything. I think it's the best. Yeah. And I think it's been suppressed for so long and underappreciated for so long that it's like that when your foot finally get in the door, you kick it off the hinges, and then that's how you start seeing all these, everybody kind of come through. And then you come through, and it's not a drop off, right? You might have saw, let's just say some people might have saw T Grizzly first.
Yeah,
right?
T Grizzly, of course.
Yeah, from a national or worldwide standpoint.
Joy Road, yep.
Yeah, so some people might have saw T Grizzly, and he broke. But even going before that, you might have seen Dej Loaf. right?
Yep.
Like we're not even talking about Big Sean. That's a whole nother anomaly.
Yep.
But let's say you see Dej Loaf and then she gets to the space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she, it's people coming in with her, and then, however, even if she's not the person that brought T Grizzly in or somebody like that, I don't know how it went, but it's not a drop off. Like he's doing it at a level, right? And then
he picks up right there.
Yeah, it's keep going, and then when he get in there, knock all this stuff down, and it's like then it's Sada coming right behind him.
Yep.
And it's like, man, it's like it's never.
And they elevate each other.
They elevate and push it, you know what I'm saying? And it just keeps going, and then from that you go wherever, to Vezo to Babyface Ray to GT to, and it's not like steps down. It's like it just keeps getting better and better.
Right.
And it's always gonna do that. And you could do that from DJ, like I said, from anything, DJs to barbers to chefs to blah 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 to whatever. And I think I kind of feel it's the same way.
What are some of the quintessential Detroit clothing brands right now that you're a fan of?
I think Ghetto Kids is dope.
Yeah.
Super dope. Corner Store Goods is super dope. Dopest Dom. Dom is fire. Faded Penguin. I'm probably missing. Early Mac is about to drop some. He's done merch before, but it kind of it's like he's about to do a pop-up shop at 218.
Oh, nice.
So it's developing more into a brand. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Man, it's so many. I can't,
Yeah.
But that, I think, to me, from what I've seen and what I can, I think it's called Sana. Or my daughter's name's Sana, but it's 2 A's. This brand is SANA. And they do a lot of dope. I think they about to open a store at Somerset or something. I don't know if it's a pop-up or a store, but they're dope, But to me, at the top is like Corner Store Goods and Ghetto Kids. They're phenomenal, man. They do so much stuff that I'd be like, I see it, and I see the youth in it, right? I see like they just some kids that's doing just, they got their minds they're just imagining far past anybody else, especially at their age.
Yeah.
And they're doing it.
That's great.
Like, we about to airbrush the whole, the jacket, pants, and
and it works.
And it works, and they doing it, and they're getting support. You know what I'm saying? But I think to me right now, it might be somebody else doing something
coming up
that I might not be thinking about, I might be missing, but off the top of my brain, those are the two.
Greatest sneaker of all time?
Oh man, white on white Air Force One.
Rose Spit, thank you so much.
My brother, thank you.
Peace and love, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.